Okay, I'm ready whenever you want.
You ready?
Right.
Okay. Well, we're sitting here with Oliver Reed. I was wondering how I should address you, Mr. Reed, for this interview. Should I address you during this interview?
No, undress me if you like.
No, we've only just met.
Ollie.
Ollie, it was very nice to talk to you. And as you know, this is for a lot of European viewers. And I was wondering, first of all, if you have any European languages that you speak.
Do widzenia. Siadaj means sit down in Polish. Do widzenia means see you later. And brisha means Bruce. And crumpet is the same internationally. Had it not been so, I would have told you.
Well, they're all sitting down in Poland, which is relaxing as well, and as indeed we're doing here. You're here because Wild Thing, the single you have just re-recorded. It's curious that you are doing this. I wonder how it all came together.
Well, breathing heavily.
Which led you to record a single, of course.
Of course.
So who approached you to record Wild Thing?
I was, do you want to know?
Yeah, of course, I wouldn't ask you otherwise.
That's not necessarily so.
We're very keen to know.
I was in Daytona, and I was walking past a shop that was selling rock and roll jackets. And I said to the producer, I said, wow, look at that. And it had this on it, and Mickey Mouse laughing in the back, and Wild Wine, love you, Wild Wine, love you, shake it, shake it. And I said, wow. I was going to, a long time ago, make a rock and roll song about that. And I dare say I'm a touch old now. And the fellow that I was with said, oh, who's too old to be a rock and roller? He didn't say that. He wasn't bright enough. Sorry, am I taking your questionnaire away from you? So then I passed the shop, and so, you know, rock and roll is spontaneous. Drummers, bing, 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 bing. And I said I would have loved to have made it with the Trogs, boy. And my father would never let me, because I was at boarding school, which was a sort of quack way of being educated. But I used to break gates, which means I used to do a runner, have it on my toes, and go away from boarding school, and either meet Valerie Butlin or Carol Pengilly or Mary Smith up at the Palace, and go catch the 93 bus, which used to go via Epsom Station to Putney Bridge, where the buckos row. And on the way through, I used to go and watch all my heroes, really, because, you know, I was 15, I suppose, 14 and a half, and I used to go and watch people kick shit out of each other. And I thought that was fairly histrionic. And I became a rock and roll fan, plus the fact that I admired the way that they were, because rock and rollers' fathers were dead or in prison, or their mothers were crying because they couldn't compromise the ration book. And so rock and rollers, real rock and rollers, grew up with a sense of dignity that is second to none.
You've got a rock and roll partner on the scene.
No, that was a posh school. I was at Ewell Castle.
I was at Cobham,
which was in Ewell, which was a school for dunces. But they were
same as mine.
But they were very, very. No, you went to the posh school, we used to box against Tiffins.
I know.
And they were a good boxing.
Red Blazers.
Today.
I know Tiffins.
I didn't know about that. But I saw the other day, I think they were interviewing Tiffins Girls' School. And say no more.
You have a rock and roll partner, and that's snooker star Alex Higgins. Now, I thought he might be coming today. What's happened to him?
He was breathing heavy. And he jumped out of the car on the way back from Liverpool.
Do you hope to meet up with him again?
Who knows?
All right, let's talk about the input in the single.
No, let's not. Let's talk about Keith Moon.
You want to talk about Keith Moon?
Yes.
All right, what about Keith Moon?
Well, a lot of input there. And, not a bad drummer. And, the Who were amazing. And there are only two groups that I've been besotted by. The Who and the Troggs. Because both groups made me feel embattled. Not embattled, embattled. And, a lot of us now, especially with the compromise of the financials, you're very lucky to have a job. How much they pay you?
Not enough. We can cut that. No, we can keep it in. The Who is one of your favourites as well. We've had a Troggs single that you've just released, which is destined to do very well, I'm sure. What about recording a Who single? Is that going to happen next? Are you going to go off on this rock and roll path?
No, they asked me whether or not that I would go over to Canada because they were doing Tommy there. And I thought I don't think I would have, don't keep on looking at your questions, I don't think that I would have been right to go there because the Who were themselves and I was only there for theatrical enterprise.
So how far do you want to take this career? Is a single a one-off, or do you want to keep going when you actually perform it?
No, the next thing that I want to do is Chantilly Lace with the Big Bopper.
Could you explain that for our European viewers?
Yeah, the Big Bopper used to wear white shoes and a big hat and a very loud suit, which is something that you don't sit on. So the Big Bopper was really a rocker of the savage type. And I can't unless... is he alive still? You don't know?
No, it's not in my book of knowledge, I'm afraid.
Well, explaining it to you lot, the Big Bopper was a real rocker.
If somebody had said to you 10 years ago that you would, 10 years from then, be doing a single which they say could very well go to number one for Christmas, what would have been your reaction to that? Would you have ever believed it?
You never talk about ladies, you never talk about rock and roll. You just remember it and keep privy to that counsel.
That doesn't answer my question, though.
Well, it's a bizarre way of probably having an attitude, or does that confuse you with your hairstyle?
Actually, hair, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was curious when you arrived today that some of yours is missing. I wondered if you could tell us why.
This, you mean?
Yeah. I think in the video you've got the handlebar moustache.
Well, for a little bit of charity, but I'm trying to grow it again. It's rather like having a lazy lob.
Thank you. Okay. Your reputation, certainly from some of the chat shows that have been going out on your promotion round in the UK, is one of a difficult guest, as a dangerous guest. Are you aware that this is happening, that you're...
No. I think, to be sexy is unconscious. I mean, have you ever been to a bird in love or in bed with a bird, and she didn't know she was sexy, and yet she was. That's what a real rock star's about.
Are you enjoying doing the round of interviews? Are any special in your mind so far?
I'm not sure that that's an honest question. I think surprise is always a great attitude.
Okay. People, let's move to acting for a moment. We'll move away from music. You are now called, cheers. I haven't got one. I will, thank you. You're now called a character actor.
Come on.
All right, I'll give it back to you.
Why? Half of it.
Okay. Very nice, thank you.
Oh, lads.
What makes a good character actor? People call you a character actor now.
Well, a character is like the four geezers that I met in the bar. They're old enough to know, and they don't have to keep on staring.
Tell our viewers about the people that we met and where we are, because I think they'd like to know.
I'm in, I don't know where the shit I am.
A traditional East End pub. You met some very traditional people.
Oh, so you're telling me where I am?
I thought we'd better fill in the gaps.
I know. I never grasp. And Londoners never grasp, even though they might do battle with each other. And when I grew up, we used to meet in a pie and mash shop or a fishy down the road, like a lot of other people. But Londoners, and I'm south of the Thames, and I was from Wimbledon Palais de Danse, and there was Streatham Locarno, and there was Hammersmith Palais. But I was from south of the river, always south of the river. And an amazing thing about the way I talk about sunshine is the fact that I sound like a toffee now, but I'm a Londoner, south of the river. But it doesn't mean to say that I have an empty glass.
Would you like some more drink?
If I may.
I'm sure we can arrange that. Who would like to pass the drink? I'll sort it out for you. Do you drink much, Ollie?
No, not as much as people would like me to do, but you know, that's part of the tradition.
Not much as much as people would like you to do. What does that mean?
It means that within the compromise of a situation whereby people are asking a question, there was Burton, he's dead. Harris only drinks a kiss of champagne every now and then, and O'Toole doesn't. What I am, I'm still in the pavilion. But watching the first 11 play, I don't think, well, I shouldn't say that.
You mentioned South London. Where do you live at the moment? Tell me about your life.
I live in Guernsey.
Oh, really? So how would you paint a picture of Guernsey for Europe who perhaps haven't been there or seen it?
About 5.5 miles by 9. And if I'm wrong, then take it off my elbow.
And what about your acting life? I mean, this single could launch you into a rock and roll star, but are you still acting? Are you still looking for new films, new roles constantly?
The British film industry is dead, like a lot of my friends. So if you've got to compromise support it. And I don't know how, if we knew how, Putnam would have come back and have left Columbia Film Studios and come back there and made an extraordinary enterprise. There is in the British film industry we haven't got the finance. And so we've got to look towards different markets for that finance. But the trouble is, different markets don't talk our same language, do they?
Why do you think the British film industry is in the state it's in?
Because when the Socialist Party were in government and they were trying to fuck about with our parliament, they made very sure that anybody with an enterprise went to live in America or to Canada. And so a lot of talent, I'm not just talking about English film talent or television talent or your job, went to live in America. That sounds like a pop record. I think it was. We all go and live in America. And they didn't really come back again. They live with Michael Caine and Roger Moore in the south of France. But they don't eat Brighton rock. They eat and smoke gouloir, or those little things they get out of shells.
Have you got a favourite film that you made?
That I've made, or what?
Of your made, that you've made?
Well, I think that probably when I'm dead, there are a lot of people going to say, yes, I would have, yes, my first was The Curse of the Werewolf. Not bad. Not bad. Can you imagine going around with a pair of hairy trousers on, springing off church roofs?
Did you play the werewolf?
You're not old enough to know.
Thank you.
And anything that I've ever done with Glenda Jackson, and I think I worked with her about 4 or 5 times.
People seem to remember Women in Love for its... Oh, you've got your drink here. We'll stop. We'll pause. Thank you. Here you go.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lorraine. You still there?
Yeah, they do.
They remember Women in Love for the nudity rather than for the film. Don't you get tired of that?
I would have preferred that they had remembered Lawrence, because I think he was doing a little bit more spectacular things than just wandering around in front of a phony fire with Alan Bates.
And you seem to speak very warmly of Glenda Jackson. What do you feel about her new career?
I'm with her all the time. She's never betrayed me, even though, I mean, she's a socialist and I'm a royalist. And, you know, the only thing that I would worry about that is that we wear prettier hats. We have feathers in them, and, you know, great swords and sweaty horses. Why? What did you think I was going to retort?
I want to go back to the... cheers. I want to go back to the single, to the music again. This, our channel in particular, we're going to be obviously showing the single, and people all over the world are going to be seeing it. Have you got any ideas? What is your expected reaction that, say, young teenagers in Europe, what are they going to make of it? People who won't have known it the first time around?
I don't think they know me. So my reaction to that is nothing.
But there's certainly an audience in Europe who, as you say, won't know Oliver Reed, the actor. So have you got any ideas what they would, if they watched the video, how they would feel about it, what they would think about it? Sorry?
Fuck 'em.
That'll help record sales anyway. Terrific. I also want to ask you, because we're coming towards the end of our time, apart from saying fuck 'em to our audience, you've got many millions who watch Super Channel. Have you got a message or something you'd like to say to the people watching today?
Bring a smile to their face. Or beg them.
Cheers.
Cheers. Really cheers.
We're done. That's great. Thank you.